are my top TV shows of 2022? Well, I'm here to tell you my top 15 of this year, so let's get to it. Number 15 on my list is Extraordinary Attorney Woo. It's a Netflix Korean series which is absolutely great. It tells a story about a woman who is autistic but has certain means of doing things. It's a fun Korean show, and like Korean shows have been hitting it out of the ballpark on Netflix with stuff like this, and it's just fun to see. It's heartwarming, it's heartfelt, and it's really great and really fun. If you haven't seen it, check it out. The episodes run over an hour long, but they're worth a watch. Watch it with the subtitles. I always tell people, watch Korean shows or any shows that are on Netflix with the subtitles. It gives it that much more essence and spark to it instead of being it dubbed, because the dubbed sometimes gets things wrong. You lose aspect of the story. Watch it in the subtitle version, and it's really great. So which is why number 15 on my list is Extraordinary Attorney Woo. Number 14 on my list is House of the Dragon. The events of this show take place 200 years before the events of Game of Thrones. The acting was great. There are many badass moments, and it's just fun. You don't anticipate certain things, but how everything happens and how all these episodes, run through the course of many years and time jumps is just different. I feel like this was much better than Game of Thrones, and Matt Smith was really good, as was Rhys Ifans, and it's just so good of a show. And some scenes were not scenes, I should say, some episodes were really dark and just too hard to watch and see. But it's the acting that made it, and which is why it's number 14 on my list. Number 13 on my list is Money Heist Korea Joint Economic Area. This is a Netflix Korean series, and it's absolutely phenomenal. It's a different take on the Money Heist storyline, and much more action and anticipation, and something you wouldn't ever believe. Netflix released the first 6 episodes, and this episode in this series has 12 episodes in total. First part of this show was released early in 2022, and the final 6 episodes was released at the end of 2022. It's a great show. It's different. The action's great, but I feel like it has more of a story to it than the original Money Heist. We know who all the characters are. We all know who everything, what's happening, what's going on, but it's just a different little change in what it could be and what it is, and it's absolutely phenomenal. Which is why number 13 on my list is Money Heist Korea Joint Economic Area. Number 12 on my list is Severance. It's absolutely done in a way where you don't expect to know what's going on, and you don't up until the ending of the season. And it's just absolutely mind-blowing of how you think it's a slow-going episode, or episode by episode this season, but it's not. There's always something happening, and it's just so different than what you anticipate and what you think it could be. The poster is great, and it's just that feeling of a show where it's on Apple TV Plus, and if you don't have Apple TV Plus, just get it just to watch this show and understand why it's so good of a TV show for this year, which is why number 12 on my list is Severance. Number 11 on my list is The Old Man, starring Jeff Bridges and John Lithgow. The reason this show is good is because of those two actors. People say this show was boring, nothing happened, the action was but for me it was the writing that made it, and the aspect of what this show is, the story of what Jeff Bridges' character is, how John Lithgow does certain things. It's so good, and the old man is a key point in this, and we find out who that is at the end of the season. But it's so well done that you have these actors just enjoying themselves, and it's great to see Jeff Bridges play a role like this, especially after what he's been through in his life recently in the past couple of years. Seeing him return to television or do television is absolutely phenomenal and mind-blowing. I mean, John Lithgow is one of the best and most underrated. Seeing him work with Jeff Bridges, oh, it's just a chef's kiss and icing on the cake, which is why number 11 on my list is The Old Man. Number 10 on my list is 1899. This was an interesting show. Like, I had that feeling of this could be like the Bermuda Triangle meets Titanic meets ships and supernatural horror. Yeah, that's what that exactly is. The episodes are slow going at times. They're really drawn out, but every single episode ends with an interesting aspect and twist. especially the final episode of the season. This show will gain popularity by word of mouth, and I'm telling you this is one of those shows you must see, and it's a must watch for this year, because you see actors on here who you've never seen before, the different aspects of what these characters are and what they look like, different races and languages, and it's just something where you think you know what's going to happen, but then you don't. Which is why number 10 on my list is 1899. Number 9 on my list is Wednesday. Jenna Ortega knocked it out of the ballpark as Wednesday Addams. This is a great show. It's much more to the tune and aspect of comedy and a little bit of horror, but also that teen drama aspect, like a YA novel. I mean, people, said it was bad because it reminded them of the CW shows, and it could have been that. No. Her dance number in this show is great. Seeing the aspect of the Addams family in it, her mother, her father, Gomez, Morticia, Pugsley, Uncle Fester, we get like certain backstories of how everything happened. It's so good. It worked out really well. And the whole thing about Tim Burton directing the first 4 episodes really made this show work, and it was absolutely phenomenal, which is why number 9 on my list is Wednesday. Number 8 on my list is Peacemaker. This is a continuation of John Cena's character, the Peacemaker, from the Suicide Squad movie directed by James Gunn. James Gunn also created this show. This is a great show from start to finish. John Cena is a funny actor. His comedic timing is great. Robert Patrick as his father is absolutely phenomenal. Each character in this has their own way of doing things, and you can't help but love them, and you can't help but laugh. It's written by James Gunn, and it's just done so well. Like, you're like, whoa, holy shit, this is happening. Okay. But it works to a point where it's heartfelt, it's emotional, it's funny, and it's sassy, and the action is just so over the top, just enough to whet your appetite and make you go, holy shit. Which is why number 8 on my list is Peacemaker. Number 7 on my list is The Sandman on Netflix. This has been one of my anticipated shows of this year, and the reason I say that is because I absolutely love the comic book from Neil Gaiman, or the graphic novel, excuse me, for that matter. The aspect of the night and day, the dark, the light, the dreams, and what the Sandman stands for and what is known for is great. I was worried because this first season was absolutely amazing, and you always are scared because Netflix always cancels shows after one season. Well, The Sandman has been picked up for a second season, and I'm happy to say we're going to get more stories. And thank you, because I was blown away by the cinematography. I was blown away by the set design. The actors that are in this, how they have so much of a big role than what you would think and anticipate. It's just so much fun that it worked to a point where you're watching, you're like, okay, people think this show is boring. No, it's not. If you love the comic book graphic novel, and if you love Neil Gaiman, you will love this show, which is why The Sandman is number 7 on my list. Number 6 on my list is Tulsa King, starring Sylvester Stallone, which was created by Taylor Sheridan. This tells the story of Dwight Manfredi, who is a mafia capo who gets out of prison after 25 years and is sent to Tulsa. And it's just absolutely great. The story is fun. The story is really different. Taylor Sheridan doing a mafia kind of cowboy theme to it was really good because he's always known for Yellowstone, 1883 and 1923. So what could happen? How could he make this his own? I mean, this is Stallone's first starring role in a TV drama series, and it works. The episodes were really short, and it felt like it should have been longer, maybe 45 to 50 minutes. But for whatever that 30-minute episode is, it works, and you just want more, and it whets your palate just to wait another, then for the next episode. It's great, it's fun, and if you love mafia, if you love cowboys, if you love Stallone, watch this show because it's that damn good. Which is why number 6 on my list is Tulsa King. Number 5 on my list is All of Us Are Dead. It's a Korean Netflix drama zombie show, and it tells the story of a zombie outbreak that happens, and the people who are infected are all school kids, high school kids, and the aspect of it is so different than what you think it is. The intensity. These zombies are fast. They're not the slow zombies. Anytime you have fast zombies, you have to think really, really much faster than what you would anticipate and what you want to understand. Every episode ends on a cliffhanger and you just can't put the remote down. You just want to watch more and more. There is an episode where you're watching, you're like, okay, what's going to happen? You're like, oh shit, it just ends and you have to watch the next one. They know how to capture emotion. They know how to capture certain things. I mean, it's very unpredictable what happens, and there is a character who is just so annoying in it that you just want them dead, but it's just a feeling of like, okay, can this work? The good thing is this show did get picked up for a second season, so I'm very, very curious to see how they go on with it, because this first season was amazing, and then knowing everyone's story and each character and how the actors portrayed him was great, and it just worked so cohesively that even the teenage drama and angst behind everything just worked so phenomenally well that it was a great show, and it is a great show, which is why number 5 on my list is All of Us Are Dead. Number 4 on my list is Stranger Things season 4. This was an over-the-top season, which was fun. We got introduced to Vecna. Sadie Sink was the breakout actress in this season, especially for how things were done. Running up that hill, like knowing who created the Upside Down, what went into creating the Upside Down, and I would say that this is the Duffer Brothers version of A Nightmare on Elm Street, but they did it so well. Vecna is Freddy Krueger. That's what it is, but the scare of it is great. Robert Englund is in this and has a cameo, but it's an effective cameo where it works to play a part in the story. How we get the backstory of Vecna, and how that person was created, what it is, and how everything from season 1 is connected to every single season up until now. So well done. The cinematography was great. The acting was way better than any other previous season, and it just worked, and it felt so good. And when it was over, you wanted more. And I'm pretty sure this isn't the last of Vecna, because Stranger Things season 5 is going to probably be the biggest series ever, and how the series ends is going to be mind-blowing for sure, which is why number 4 on my list is Stranger Things season 4. Number 3 on my list is Dahmer, Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story. Evan Peters played a phenomenal character in this. There are scenes in this that make you cringe, and the whole aspect of what Dahmer was and how he is portrayed, it was just different. The series starts off where we find that Dahmer is caught, and it works backwards. Anytime a show works backwards and goes to the beginning of how everything started, it's really, really good and really, really well done. But for what it is, the acting was great, and it's just an uncomfortable show. Each episode is 45 minutes or more, and but it just works in a way where you're like, okay. There are some scenes where it's just funny, but then it's a cringe funny. I don't know if that actually makes any sense. But it's like, wow, okay. And certain things, you just yell at your TV screen like, how could the cops do this or this and that? What was the reason behind it? Evan Peters is phenomenal as an actor, but I do worry because he's such a great actor that he goes into these spaces in his mind where he becomes these characters. He's a method actor. That's what he does. But it really paid off for this, and we are going to get more monster series where it talks about different people in the world, not just Dahmer. So this show is continuing, but with different things happening. So, which is why number 3 on my list is Dahmer. Number 2 on my list is Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities. This is a great show. Seeing Guillermo del Toro introduce every single episode, like Rod Serling did with The Twilight Zone and Night Gallery, was good, and it had that feeling and essence to it as well. And just seeing that certain stories were about Lovecraftian and H.P. Lovecraft, and how certain things were redone. There are certain episodes that will stick with you, and then some episodes that will go, okay, holy shit, is that it? There are some really phenomenal episodes, like I said, and there are some really bad episodes. But, I mean, 8 episodes, it's really different than what it is. And seeing that this show can grab your attention and capture that is great. You will see actors on here you haven't seen in a very long time, who you may know from other movies or TV shows for that matter, but it's done in a way where Guillermo del Toro has created a universe where you can go further on with stories, or even redo stories from the Twilight Zone, Night Gallery, or even more H.P. Lovecraft, or take out short stories from short story horror novels and put them into this show, and it will work for sure. Which is why number 2 on my list is Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities. The number 1 show of 2022 for me for this year is Andor. Andor is unlike any other Star Wars show you have seen. It's in your face, it's great. What I love about it is we don't have the usual Jedi Sith lore, but you want to fight the Empire. That's what it is, the build up to fighting the Empire. Andor, this first season was phenomenal. It has been renewed for a second season, which that second season will lead into Rogue One, a Star Wars story. We know what happens to Andor at the end of that movie. We know that all the aspects of these characters or what they're doing will culminate in a certain way, which makes it that much more interesting of a show. The action is great. There are things that are drawn out, but it's done in a way where it's like, okay, what's happening? The show does start off really slow, but it does pick up, and I have to say it picks up once he's on Narkina 5. And then it just goes on from there. It's one after another with elevated storylines, and it's great. Tony and Dan Gilroy wrote most of the episodes, and seeing Andy Serkis in this as well, return in the Star Wars universe as a different character, was great. Kino Loy, phenomenal. Diego Luna as Andor, so good, so well done. Like, you watch this, you wouldn't even think it's a Star Wars show. And even seeing Stellan Skarsgård as Luthen, Forrest Whitaker as Saul Guerrero, you know how his character is in Rogue One. It just works so well, and it's so good. I love that because it's not your typical show, and this has 12 episodes, and it's close to 40 to 55 minutes long, but it works, and the ending was just that much more fun to watch, which is why number 1 on my list is Andor. So let's recap my top 15 TV shows of this year, 2022. Number 15, Extraordinary Attorney Woo. Number 14, House of the Dragon. Number 13, Money Heist Korea, Joint Economic Area. Number 12, Severance. Number 11, The Old Man. Number 10, 1899. Number 9, Wednesday. Number 8, Peacemaker. Number 7, The Sandman. Number 6, Tulsa King. Number 5, All of Us Are Dead. Number 4, Stranger Things Season 4. Number 3, Dahmer. Number 2, Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities. And number 1, Andor. So let me know in the comment section below what you thought about my top 15 TV shows of this year, 2022. Do you agree or disagree with them? Do you think that there should be other shows on this list? Do you think that there are shows that are on this list that should be taken off? And what are your top 15, 10, 5, or that one TV show that was amazing and the best of this year, 2022? Let me know in the comment section below about all the questions I just asked. And I'll see you all in the next video. And thank you for tuning in.